Most people think that clarity strikes like a lightning bolt. One moment you're lost, and then the next you have a fully mapped out vision board and a 3-year plan. Yeah, I wish, but that's really not how it works. Clarity doesn't tend to come in a flash, it comes in listening for alignment. And today I'm going to show you how to recognize that. Welcome back. I'm Brittney Tollinchi, former corporate high achiever turned purpose-driven business coach, speaker, and creator of the Purpose-Driven Business Launchpad. And this is The Call, a 4-part series designed to help you clarify your calling, overcome fear, and take your next aligned step with confidence. In session 1, we talked about connecting with that whisper, that quiet nudge that something more is calling you. In session 2, we named the resistance that shows up right after that. All the fears, the doubts, that inner noise that is just trying to hold you back. If you haven't tuned into those sessions, I highly recommend you take a lesson in just for some practical takeaways on how you can actually walk across this bridge from feeling called to taking the leap. Today, we talk about that in-between space when you've heard the whisper, you've acknowledged the resistance, and now you're kind of waiting for some clarity to kind of kick in anytime soon would be great, right? This is where most people get stuck because they're waiting for clarity to be loud and obvious. But clarity, it's quieter than you think, and it's raw and it's honest. For me, clarity did not come necessarily in one big moment. I would say in my situation, it started showing up when the things that used to light me up just didn't. The meetings that once energized me started to feel exhausting. Winning awards at work felt more like a checkbox rather than a celebration. Even the compliments that I used to chase, you're doing so great, it just kind of started landing flat. And I remember thinking, I'm grateful and I'm not alive here anymore. That knowing was quiet. It was honest. It was a little painful, but it was raw and real. And it's where clarity about my next aligned step really showed itself. The common theme that I've seen is that alignment starts with tuning in, not reaching out. Anytime we feel uncertain, our instinct tends to be like, run to Google, ask ChatGPT, ask 10 friends, download 6 freebies. Like we're constantly looking for someone else's blueprint, right? And while that may help, clarity doesn't tend to live out there. It starts in here, in you. And alignment is what happens when your values and your vision and your voice actually start lining up with that whisper. So you can ask yourself things like, what do I actually care about right now? Or what feels life-giving, not just impressive? What kind of energy do I want to feel in my day? Or what brings me great joy? Alignment feels like peace, even in the presence of fear or doubt or the unknown or all of the things. One of the biggest misconceptions that I see is that we think aligned choices should feel exciting and polished or complete. But most of the time, alignment, it feels like this quiet exhale. It's not like, oh my gosh, I figured it all out. It's more, okay, this feels honest. This feels good. I could keep going here in this vein. That's how I knew I was on the right path. It wasn't flashy and it wasn't instantly profitable either, but it felt true and honest. It felt, even in uncertainty, I had peace. Even with financial insecurity, I experienced joyful abundance. Even with fear, I had confidence. Even with doubt, I held this unwavering faith and knowing that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, taking aligned action in my calling. What clarity actually looks like in real life? Let's get practical, all right? Here are a few signs that, like, if you're listening for alignment, you're going to start noticing repeated themes in your journaling or in your conversations. You will start to feel energized by certain tasks or topics, even if they don't make sense on paper. You will feel like this quiet pull towards something that maybe just won't leave you alone. You wake up in the middle of the night with ideas and you cannot shut them off. You feel peace saying no to things that no longer fit, and you stop needing everyone else to approve before you act. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation that you're choosing to move forward in your calling. I know this is going to be hard to hear, but the cold hard truth of a life transformation is that you're going to have to move without knowing the whole map. Alignment doesn't give you every answer. It gives you just enough to take the next step and then another. I always tell my clients that you don't build a business, a purpose, or a next chapter in your head. You build it in motion, one aligned step at a time. And how are you going to actually start listening for alignment in your own life? Here's what I recommend. First off, pay attention to the patterns. What are you drawn to again and again? What lights you up? What drains you? Don't ignore the themes that keep showing up. They're pointing somewhere. Number 2, filter for truth. So when a new idea or opportunity comes up, you're asking yourself, is this aligned with who I'm becoming or just familiar with who I've been? Is this really where I want to spend my time and my energy? Is this where I'm being called to? And I'll say that this is really where your discernment muscle starts getting a workout. If something feels heavy, forced, or fear-based, it's probably not aligned. If something feels freeing and a little scary, but right, pay attention to that. The third thing, follow the flow, not the force. Alignment does not always mean that everything is easy, but it does mean that you're not forcing what doesn't fit. You know the difference. Like when you're hustling out of fear, it feels heavy. But when you're working from alignment, even if it's hard work, there's peace, there's purpose in it. It's like you're flowing with the current instead of fighting against it. So ask yourself, does this feel like force or flow? Because you don't have to force your way forward. You can flow forward from a place of peace. So if you've been waiting for a sign, if you've been overthinking, your way into analysis paralysis, or if you're waiting for a lightning bolt of clarity, let this be your reminder. Clarity doesn't always shout. It comes with listening for alignment. And that's what this part of the call framework is all about. Tuning into what is already true and letting that lead your next aligned step. Inside the free guide that pairs with this series, I included some powerful questions just to help you listen for alignment and to recognize the places in your life where things are already shifting, even if you didn't realize it yet. So you can download the guide at the link in the notes. And if you've been, with me from the beginning, then we'll recap the journey a little bit here. You have felt the whisper. You have now named the resistance. You have started turning that into what alignment actually feels like. And now it's time to move. All right. So in session 4, we're going to talk about what it actually looks like to live it out loud, to turn all of this clarity into action that reflects who you're becoming. Just remember, you don't have to force what fits. You don't have to fake what no longer aligns. You just have to listen. Clarity isn't just found, it's felt, and it starts within. You got this.